Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 69, written by user SkinnyMini18. He saw his girlfriend going into the bathroom. No windows inside. Somehow, she wasn't there when he checked later. To start with, I and my girlfriend have had many weird experiences. If you want to hear about those, just let me know. Anyways, back when we were around 16 and 17, I was staying over at her mom's apartment. When you first enter the apartment, the kitchen is on the left, then her mom's room and the bathroom is on the right. If you keep going straight is the dining room and living room, with my girlfriend's room in the back, to the right, and she has a mini bathroom in her room. It's a very small apartment, so it's not hard to bump into each other or miss anyone. Anyways, her sister was watching TV in the living room, and her mom was walking back and forth from her room to the kitchen, doing stuff. I was in my girlfriend's room, waiting for her because she told me she had to use the bathroom. I saw her walk in, and waited for her for like 15 minutes on her bed, facing the bathroom door. After a while, I got worried and walked up to the door and called out for her, but didn't get a response, so I checked the door handle and it was unlocked. I opened the door and didn't see her at all in the bathroom. The bathroom is super small and had no windows or anything, so I was super confused. I went to the living room and asked her sister if she saw her come out, and she said no. I asked her mom the same thing, and she said no as well. We looked all over the apartment and didn't see her at all, and we all got worried. I called her phone and it kept going straight to voicemail. It wasn't anywhere in the apartment. She usually takes it with her to the bathroom. Eventually, we saw her walking from a distance outside and she looked out of it. To this day, we still don't understand what happened. She doesn't even remember what happened exactly, but I still remember it vividly because of how much it freaked me out. I also checked her phone and it didn't even show I called her. She legitimately teleported out of the bathroom into the parking lot. She would have no reason to just walk outside anyway, because at the time, we were stuck together like glue. We were in our honeymoon love-struck stage. Case notes, file number 69. Does she have no clear recollection of what happened at all? For instance, does she remember heading into the bathroom, which you saw her do? Also, this is a while back, so it's doubtful you have this information, but I am curious. Not sure how long ago this was, how old are you now? But if Google Maps was a thing, did you check that? It can give a lot of useful information regarding time loss or teleportation glitches. If the GPS logs in your position as never having moved, just appearing in a new location instantaneously, well, that indeed lends more proof to this happening, given there are no windows in the bathroom at all. It's not like she could Houdini herself out. The author responded to my comment, saying, "This happened many years ago, almost 6 years ago now. She doesn't even remember this happening, but I do clearly. And more weird, crazy things happened around that time, at the same apartment, and she remembers all of those other times. So I know I didn't make it up in my head." What do you think? A quick note before the next story. If you're enjoying the video, consider sharing it. It really helps. Thank you. Case file number 70, written by user Takakta. A simple trip across the west coast, reaching a lodging cabin that changed overnight. 10 years ago, I was a stupid 18-year-old kid who was living with his parents in Flagstaff, Arizona. We moved almost every 3 years due to the nature of my dad's work, and so I got to see most of the country. It was a Tuesday in November. My mom said we were packing up the apartment and moving to Seattle for what was going to be another year and 2 months. I had a small 300cc motorcycle at the time. I think it was a V-Star, but I could be wrong, and decided to hook up a GPS and use the time to go on a ride across the west coast. My mother didn't like the idea, but I knew I'd be safe due to personal experience and knowing when and when not to ride. Besides, it would be a 3-day trip and I'd get to see all sorts of neat stuff along the way. I notified my job that I was going to transfer, threw on my saddlebags, and a day later I was on the road. I managed to make it through western Nevada to avoid LA traffic, and stopped before taking the I-5 into California. That evening, I stayed in a day's inn that had a parking spot specifically, and an extremely comfy bed. After breakfast and a talk with the locals, I crossed through Reno into Western California. From there, it was only 4 more hours until I reached Oregon. Luckily, I had time to spare, so I wanted to take some back roads and discover what this dank, damp state had to offer. It was fall, and there was a deep chill in the air. Riding through it sent shivers down my spine like nothing else ever had. November's weather in Oregon is almost identical to that of Pittsburgh during that season. It makes you want to curl up in a ball and sleep for a decade, only to wake up and repeat the process all over again. Eventually, I grew tired enough that I wanted to find somewhere to stay, and managed to see a sign advertising a Green Hills Hunting Lodge on the side of the road. It was accompanied by a long, steep hill that took me what felt like an hour to climb. Though when I reached the top, I was greeted by a large and gorgeous cabin that looked like it was specifically made for weddings, as something ripped out of a fairy tale. I was bewildered. I parked my bike, took off my bags, and threw a tarp over it which was secured by bungee cords. I walked inside and met a Korean woman who was working at the front desk. She spoke perfect English, but had a very distinctive accent, in which she explained to me that I could choose my room due to an abundance of vacancy. Cool, right? I chose room 31, as the entire building was all on one floor that evening. She handed me a key with the tag 31 attached via keyring, and tells me to have a good night. I throw all my stuff down and head to the bathroom to wash up after riding for an entire day. The room itself looks like a cabin, stunning in its beauty. The floorboards are all real wood, and even the shower has the same natural wood as a tub surround. I take a shower, then head to bed, and realize that the mattress is incredibly comfortable. It makes me all cozy, only to realize something is off. It's not something obvious, but I knew there was some sort of oddity about this place. I push it to the back of my mind and fall asleep. The next morning I wake up to find the walls went from natural brown to a deeper gray, as if they were stained overnight. This wasn't a result of natural lighting via LEDs. The room was without a doubt a different color. I shrug it off and get all my stuff together, making sure everything is still where I left it. I head out of the room to find that not only had the wood changed color, I was on a second floor that previously didn't exist. The light from the morning sun wasn't permeating the windows of the cabin, and there was no one in sight. I started to freak out, nearly having a panic attack because this wasn't right. Thankfully, there were stairs that I dashed down as fast as I could, and made my way to the front desk and rang the bell once, twice, 3 times. I was breathing heavy, and I knew I had to get out of there. No one was coming to check up on me after about 10 minutes of waiting, so I dashed out of the doors and into the lot. I ripped the tarp off my bike and looked back at the lodge. It wasn't the same lodge. This was a broken down, abandoned, dirty building that looked as though it was about to be condemned. I didn't want to ask any more questions and rode off as fast as I could. That place still haunts me, even to this day. Case notes, file number 70. A chilling tale indeed. Did you by chance pay with a credit card, or was it just cash? I'd be very curious if the trail you took to get to this cabin was on Google Maps, if retracing your steps is possible here. Or maybe again GPS tracking via your phone. The vibes I get from this story are reminiscent of Twin Peaks. Something just off, you know? All that's missing is that beautiful soundtrack and a dancing dwarf. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe on up. I'll see you soon.